The room behind the wallpaper. When Sarah and her husband Ali first laid eyes on the countryside house, it felt like a dream come true. The place was old but beautiful, a grand ivy-covered home that stood proudly on a hill just outside a sleepy village. The wooden shutters were worn and the floor creaked with every step, but it had character. More importantly, it had peace. After years of city chaos and stress, this was exactly what they needed. The villagers were warm but cautious. An elderly man at the local tea shop even laughed and said, "That house? It's got secrets. Been empty too long for no reason." Sarah had smiled politely, brushing it off as small-town folklore. She didn't believe in ghost stories. And even if the house did have a few skeletons in the closet, figuratively, she wasn't scared. A few weeks passed and life settled into a quiet rhythm. Ali worked from home and Sarah kept herself busy renovating. One day she decided to remove the faded floral wallpaper lining the upstairs hallway. As she scraped away the paper, something strange caught her eye. A rectangular outline behind the wall. Curious, she peeled more, revealing the full frame of a door. It had no knob, only an old iron keyhole. "Ali, come here," she called, her voice echoing slightly in the quiet house. Ali inspected the door and frowned. "It's not on the house plans. That's weird." They searched the house for anything that could open it. After a while, Sarah found a rusted iron key tucked behind a loose brick in the fireplace mantel. As she slid the key into the lock, the door gave a soft click and slowly creaked open. Inside was a spiral staircase, narrow and winding down into darkness. A cold, musty air flowed out, heavy with the scent of mold and something else, something like old wood and wet earth. Sarah hesitated, but curiosity won over fear. She grabbed a flashlight and started descending. Ali followed, though every step seemed to echo louder than it should have. At the bottom, they entered a circular basement room. It wasn't on any of the blueprints. The walls were covered in torn sketches, strange symbols, and pages with writings in a language neither of them recognized. In the center of the room stood a small rocking horse, child-sized, painted white, with faded red eyes. As they stood there, it rocked gently, as though touched by a breeze that didn't exist. Sarah felt a chill crawl up her spine. "We shouldn't be down here," she whispered. That night, things began to change. At exactly 2:17 a.m., every light in the house flickered for 5 seconds. It happened the next night too, and the next. Then came the sounds. Soft knocks behind the walls that follow them from room to room. Whispers, too faint to understand, but always there. Sarah tried to tell herself it was in her head. Old houses made noise. Maybe the power was faulty. But one morning, she came downstairs to find every drawer in the kitchen pulled open and filled with dirt and dead roses. Ali couldn't explain it either. They tried to ignore it, but then the drawings started appearing. On their living room walls, sometimes on the mirrors, even inside the refrigerator. Childlike sketches in charcoal of a small girl with long black hair and hollow eyes. Sometimes she was standing in the basement. Other times, she was standing right outside their bedroom door. Sarah became paranoid. She barely slept. She constantly checked the locks. One evening, she caught the sound of a lullaby, a haunting, gentle tune. It echoed from below the floorboards. Ali said he heard nothing. Then, one night, Sarah woke to a creaking sound. Not from outside, not from the hallway. It was in their bedroom. She sat up slowly. There it was, the rocking horse from the basement, swaying gently at the foot of their bed. Behind it stood a girl, no taller than a child, her face obscured by long black hair, her head tilted to the side. Her mouth did not move, but a voice echoed inside Sarah's mind. "You found my room. Now you can't leave." Sarah screamed. The figure vanished in a blink. They tried to flee the house the next morning, but the front door wouldn't open, neither would the windows. Their phones had no signal. The house had locked them in. Allie swung a hammer at the wall where the hidden door once was, but it was gone. In its place was a smooth wall, freshly covered in the same floral wallpaper, as if the door had never existed. Sarah broke down. They decided to burn the house. That night they poured kerosene through every room, lit matches, and waited. As the flames climbed the walls, the lullaby started again, this time loud and clear. Dozens of voices joined in. Children, laughing, crying, singing, and then screams. The fire brigade found Sarah hours later, lying unconscious on the lawn. The house had burned to the ground. Not a single trace of Ali was ever found. Sarah never spoke again. She lives in a care facility now, sitting silently in her room, always facing the wall. Nurses say she sometimes hums a lullaby at night, and locals say if you walk past the place where the house once stood, on a quiet night when the wind is still, you might hear the creaking of a rocking horse. And sometimes, just sometimes, the whisper of a little girl asking, "I want to play again?"